As Inka said before, the whole AI story did not start yesterday. Okay, so actually, some of you might be surprised that the AI is only a slightly younger than computer science. So the first functioning AI was built in 1956. So it is not that new. Yes, it became much more popular in the everyday life recently, but it is not so new, and I'm not so new in that world either. So I have been involved in AI work for 25 years. I was building AI solutions as practitioner and so on. So then as a scholar, I was studying human knowledge. So I interviewed some Nobel Prize winning scientists to figure out how they think and learn and so on. And obviously, as the whole newest AI hype started, I had some things to say about this, and I brought together these two aspects of my previous work. So one of the things that we have done recently with a doctoral student of mine is that we have asked some dermatologists when they are doing a cancer diagnosis, specifically melanoma diagnosis, how they use or would like to use AI. So it is important that it's a very specific type of work. It is also research type work. And the reason that I'm talking about this is that there is no such thing as how people use AI. Okay. So in this very specific area, we have found that there are three very distinct ways of how people would like to use AI. One was to use it as a tool. What it means, you tell the AI to process some large amount of data to try to identify certain patterns and so on. So basically, it is a tool as any other tool. It is very powerful. The second is if you want to use it as an assistant, what it means, as a good assistant, you did not even think of what you need and it is already prepared for you. It is not only about the data that is being processed, not only about the research task, it is as much as about you. So basically, your AI learns all sorts of things of how you like things done, and that happens. But the most interesting is, and please consider these as metaphors, so I don't attribute any sort of good assistant parameters to AI. And the third one is to use it as a peer, what that means. So basically, it is about consulting AI, in this case, about diagnosis. Why would that make sense? It is actually two very different groups who want to use it this way. On the one hand, the novices, the least experienced diagnosticians who don't trust themselves enough. They want to rely on AI a little bit more. And, they will trust their own judgment more if it is aligned with AI. But the most experienced were the other group. And that's very interesting. What they want, they say that, if I have an AI that will scrutinize my diagnosis according to everything that we know, then I can be more imaginative, more free in my own diagnosis. So I can be more creative. I can be not so well behaved because I know that it will be checked against everything. And of course, it is melanoma diagnosis. So if there is a smallest chance that it is cancer, they will cut and do the traditional like checks. However, if not necessary, then it is a great saver. But you need to be sure that it is not necessary. Anyway, so I take these three roles and I don't say that there are no other ways of using AI. It is just that these are three types of using AI that I certainly see happening in research. This is not only about generative AI, but it can be in some ways about generative AI as well. And what I was trying to do is to put across these three types of using AI with those criteria or those dimensions that we had about integrity. So if you look at honesty, it will not change if you use it as a tool. However, if you use it as an assistant, if it gives you all sorts of prompts, then can you even be sure where your idea was coming from? whether you came up with it or it was prompted by something that your AI prepared. How about the goals of the research? If it scanned the research landscape, maybe you are doing that research because everyone else is doing that same kind of thing. If you are working with AI as a peer, would you have kept the same ideas if you were not using AI? Could you go even that free? So, this is actually a possible great improvement, that you are more free when you are figuring out which way your research will go. However, it might not be easy to declare. That's what I'm trying to say, because you might not be aware of what was the impact, how it got together, how it got intertwined with your own thinking. For example, one of the very widespread uses of generative AI is that people use spell checkers. And if you use Grammarly, for example, it has ChatGPT built in. And you might even not know that you were using generative AI just to fix your language. And should we say that this is great because it is giving a little bit better chance for those who are not native English speakers? Or we should say that we were cheating because it is not actually text that I produced in that form. Obviously, these are extremes, but where is the line? Where is the cutoff? Is there a cutoff? So these are not simple questions, and obviously you can see already from the first line that I am not trying to give you the answers. I'm talking about something that we might want to research, and that I think that breaking down the problem into smaller pieces might make it easier to do some sort of research. The same applies in terms of rigor. For example, if you have an AI assistant, then whether your methodological choice was because that's your favorite method, or because everyone else is using it, or whatever prompted it. Of course, in this sense, AI is not that different from everything else that that hits us when we are doing research. You speak to a colleague, you work with your doctoral students, they come up with some ideas, you see a movie, you listen to a song and it prompts something. So we are not aware of these things. So of course we need to declare everything that we can declare. That's common sense. It also might not be easy very often when you are publishing it. Sometimes reviewers tell you to take it out. For example, I have a model about the levels of mastery. And one of the starting points was the writings of the ancient Egyptian sage, Hermes Trismegistus. And that was not getting published, okay? So that's a weird thing to speak about these, semi-mystical texts influencing my research topic. So it was actually a clue that gave me the idea about a model. And, I did not mystify the model, but it was a clue. If I want to be open, I need to talk about that. So there is a lot of stuff about the black box nature of AI. So most people don't understand how AI works. Now, that's what kind of brought about the whole explainable AI concept, although explainable AI exists much longer than the concept, because symbolic expert systems were, for example, perfectly explainable. However, the point is that there are two different ways, again, from the same study with the dermatologists, how people might want to understand what AI did. And one is when you want to understand the rationale behind the particular outcome, about the particular reasoning about whatever your outcome is. But the other, and this is what the dermatologists were looking for, they have good scientific background, and they want to understand the science behind it. They want to understand how AI works. They don't care so much about the particular output if they understand how it works. But that means that, you need to teach them. So it is a very important thing to get them get them there. I will not go through all of these because there is not enough time, you know, unless you have a whole semester. But one interesting thing is if you come to the accountability, you see at that last box, I think that you need a second AI there. So, you know, you need to run an AI to scrutinize what the process was like, including the AI. And this is not a rare thing. When your neural network becomes big enough, then there is no way to analyze it in any other by any other means than using AI. Now, what happens then? What happens when your data generated by ChatGPT is used as learning data for your other AI? That's a scary thought, because synthetic data are very, very problematic unless it is coming from that type of hard science where we can actually legitimately generate that kind of data. But when I am coming from a business school background, so in my world, the synthetic data would be insane. And the problem is that we cannot do what Anna suggested, that we need to not allow it to answer the question like how I maximize the killing on a particular road. The problem is that we can do this only if we can identify every single possible instance of what can go wrong. And that's not possible because there is an infinite number. I was at the World Science Festival in New York a few years ago, and Jan LeCun was showing how they built a little AI-driven race car. And, there was a race course and it was going around. Well, it was supposed to. Unfortunately, as it started, it went straight into the concrete wall. Why? Because it is a common sense for the driver not to try to go through the concrete wall. Therefore, this was not programmed into the AI. Okay, that going through concrete walls is not a good idea. Now, we cannot think of everything. Okay, and that is the big point, that unless this is everywhere. Okay, so we cannot have all the options, and that's why it is, I think, very important to look at the human and social studies, where we are used to that we are making decisions without knowing all options and all consequences of all options. So what it is that we know at this time? Integrity is not about AI. It is the researcher who either has or does not have integrity. I came up with this for some time ago, that AI was an amplifier. The first how I used it is that AI will not make you smarter by adding knowledge to what you have. It will amplify what you have. If you are smart, it will amplify that. If you happen to be an idiot, it will amplify that as well. And that's what makes it dangerous. It was very well received in January at the Higgs conference when I applied the same thought in ethics. And I told them that we don't actually have AI ethics problems at all. We have fundamental ethics problems, and AI is amplifying them. And that's a very different way of looking at it, okay? So obviously, the big question is, should we AI it or not AI it? What do we do about that? It can bring so many advantages. When we regulate it the way that it kind of does more damage, I mean the regulation, then going ahead and probably making mistakes. When I conducted this research with the Nobel laureates, if the current research ethics regulations were in place, I could not get these interviews done, because they would not read through all the information sheets and consent forms and sign and whatever in order to be allowed to talk to me. They either talk to me or not, and they say, deal with it. So these are very difficult questions. Do you like this cat? It's a nice cat. It is an AI-generated cat, imagine that. I could not distinguish it from a real one. That's, again, a scary thought. I think that there is one thing at this time that we can do about this, and it is to change our language. We talk since, I don't know, like late 20th century, we talk about ourselves very often in computer terms. We are generating a model and we are teaching you information, nonsense. And yet we talk about AI in human terms. We are collaborating with AI. We are, I don't know, AI is creating pieces of art and so on. Try to distinguish this. Authentic AI is not a better fake human. Authentic AI is like AI, not like human. Thank you. That's all for today.